Welcome back to Full Incense. My name is Jericho, and today I'm joined by both CyannSentry and Chris, and we're going to talk about Deadpool, which we just saw yesterday.
Hello.
Hi.
So to start off, what'd you guys think?
Alright, well, I want to preface by saying that it was incredibly overrated. That being said, I really, really enjoyed it. It was a really fun watch.
Yeah, to me, I did not really have high expectations. I said in my Movies of 2016 video, I think it was in part 2, that I wanted to see it, but it definitely wasn't one I was really looking forward to in a year with so many movies that I'm like ridiculously excited for. That was not exactly the top of my list, but I still wanted to see it, and then it got really good reviews, which made me want to see it more. So since I had low expectations, I wasn't disappointed in any way, but it didn't change my life either.
Yeah, it's certainly not my favorite comic book movie, and definitely probably not even in my top 10 movies, but I don't regret seeing it. It was a lot of fun.
See, my journey, if you will, to seeing the film was a little bit different than y'all's, because when I had first heard about it and going into it, I wasn't super excited. And then when it came out, everybody I talked to, it was all over the place, said that it was just hilarious, hysterical, amazing. So then I got super excited to see it. And then after having seen it, I'm kind of with y'all. Like, it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I think I might have been a little bit disappointed just because of how much it was hyped after it came out.
And that's sort of the shame. Like, I mean, it only just came out, I think, like a week ago. But that's just the, like, if you don't see a movie right away, it's not even like just reading spoilers, just in general, just hearing about a movie is enough to color your expectations of it, enough to make you like it or dislike it more than you would have wanted to. Like, you either want to be with the crowd that likes it, or you get too excited and end up not liking it as much as you might have. It's kind of tough.
Right.
I want to talk about a sidebar for a second. It was odd when we first got to the theater. We were the first ones in the theater, and it was just funny to me. The next 3 or 4 groups that came in were all very old people.
Yeah, not exactly the target demographic, like 50s and 60s, which I thought was. I wonder what they would have thought of it. We should have done a quick poll as everyone was leaving. Have your attention for a moment, but please reclaim your seats.
Maybe a future episode have senior citizens on
right.
the show.
Old incense. So I think what was cool about the movie is the things I liked about it was not necessarily what I expected. I liked that it had a lot of heart. It was heartfelt and sweet at times, and it was very restrained because Deadpool as a character and Ryan Reynolds as an actor, and just the whole way the movie works with the frantic humor and fourth wall and all that sort of thing, it easily could have been way too much. So the fact that they were able to be restrained and take a light hand with it was really surprising, in a good way. I think I easily could have been overwhelmed and gotten sick of it in the first 5 minutes, because just the first scene that you spend with Deadpool, fully in character, with the violence and the jokes and the fourth wall and everything that makes him the character, even that, right off the bat, it was almost too much. So I'm glad that, you spend a lot of the time, not with him in that, full Deadpool mode, if you will.
Right.
And I'm always, in every show and movie, if there's a fourth wall to be broken, I laugh hysterically just every time. It's always funny to me. So I knew going in that's what he does, and that's what I would like about the movie, and it's absolutely correct about that. They, like Full Incense says, they really, or Jericho, you go first. As Jericho says, they used a deft hand in how much they employed that.
See, that just kind of takes me out of it. I know that was the whole point of the jokes, is oh my gosh, she's breaking the fourth wall. That's hilarious, and it was done really well. But just for me personally, it makes it seem like it's a movie about a movie.
Right. Yeah.
It was done really well, but it just doesn't do it for me.
I definitely think that that was one thing that maybe wasn't explored well enough in the movie. Was it seemed like they sort of set out to be like a parody of superhero movies in a lot of ways, because Deadpool is a parody of really grim superheroes like Wolverine and Batman. And they sort of did some things with it, but not as much as I would have wanted.
Yeah, even with the opening credits, they don't list the actual actors or the characters. They list archetypes, like moody
yeah.
teenager.
Yeah, a British villain. Yeah. Which was cool and clever, but
Yeah.
I wish there had been a little bit more of that throughout. So another thing I really liked, I thought a lot of the casting was really good. This is the role that Ryan Reynolds is born to play. I've never liked him nearly as much in anything else, and I can't imagine I ever will again. Probably including Deadpool 2. Like, the fact that a sequel is already confirmed and they're working on it, I kind of don't like. I don't know. It's easy to have just way too much of Deadpool, I think. But
I'm very excited about the secret announcement at the end, though. We're not going to give any spoilers at this point in the show, but the character that they announced for the next movie is really exciting to me.
But in general, I liked the casting. I actually don't remember the character's name, but Deadpool's buddy.
Yeah, the bartender.
Yeah, what was
I don't remember his name either. But
he was a good foil, good for Deadpool to bounce his stuff off of.
He's very Foggy Nelson-esque.
Yep, I agree. That's the Daredevil's partner from the Netflix show. Well, I mean, from the movie too, and from the comics. But he was most similar to how he is in the Netflix show. And Marina Baccarin, who was Inara in Firefly and is now Dr. Leslie in the Gotham TV show, was awesome as the love interest. But and I think maybe it's hard when a movie is a comedy and it's trying to be a parody, because I would say that she was way too much of a damsel in distress. Like her first scene really sets her up as being tough and crazy, and just the fact where Deadpool meets her should show that she absolutely could take care of herself. But then she just doesn't really have a whole lot to do in the movie other than being Deadpool's reason.
I would normally agree with that, but she is going up against two mutants, and yeah, of course she's gonna get kidnapped. She's taken by surprise, and they have superpowers over her. She's just a normal person. So, I mean, even the heroes have trouble fighting against them. So she does what she can. Like, as soon as she's able, she does try to fight back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She doesn't do too well, but she does something. And that's more than a lot of armor will do. She never gets all whimpery and cryy and why are you doing this? Let me go kind of damsel. She's defiant and angry.
Well, okay, I guess this will sort of start to get into spoiler territory a bit, but I think more what I'm saying is, like, why, at the end of the movie, she realizes that Wade has been along all the time. She's like, my boyfriend is dead. Like, why didn't you go look for him? Why is this news to you? Like, she knew where Wade went. Like, surely the bartender guy would have told her that, oh, he met with Agent Smith in the corner, talk to him about it, not just assume he's dead because he's gone.
I wonder if that was just a victim of not bad editing, but maybe a scene got cut where we see her after.
Yeah, that definitely could be. Like, maybe Wade left signs that he had just died from the cancer.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Or they probably fabricated evidence. And as far as they knew, he was dead. Like,
yeah.
As far as the villains knew. So if she did go after any information, that's probably the news she got.
So I don't know if the characters have been in the credits yet, but Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead are both in the movie too, and they both are really good. I've always liked Colossus a lot, and he was a good straight man for Deadpool, and was just funny throughout. And I liked Negasonic Teenage Warhead a lot too, who I had never really known was a character before.
I'm gonna disagree. I think Colossus could have been done a lot better. He was very one-dimensional. He was basically just the conscience for Deadpool to ignore the entire time.
But that was the point.
I know, but it was just every time he opened his mouth, you knew he was going to try to get Wade to do something good, and Wade was going to ignore it. And then he would be disappointed but hopeful every single time. And it kind of got a little old. And he was just a Boy Scout, I know that's the point. That's how Wade sees the X-Men, but I feel like they could have given him an anger problem or something, you know, to make him a little more dynamic.
I wonder, you know, again, this is sort of what I was talking about before, where when it's a parody, you can't really see where the line is and you can't give them too much credit. But I wonder if, like, since we're seeing it through Deadpool's eyes, like, that's how he would see Colossus, as not having any sort of flaw like that at all. Like, he just is.
Yeah. I did wonder that, yeah. That's very possible.
But again, I mean, that's, you know, that could easily be giving them too much credit. And I think that's what Negasonic Teenage Warhead was there for too, was to be that part of it, like, because she was, you know, much less in control and was angry and all that, but still, you know, still was a positive influence on
awesome.
Wade.
I really liked her, except for she was chewing gum the whole freaking time.
Well, she's a teenager.
I don't care.
And again, maybe that's just through Deadpool's eyes. He sees every teenager just chewing gum,
chewing gum and licking on their phone.
Right.
It's true, but I have a problem with gum.
Right.
I can't stand the sound, so that bothered me the whole time. But she was a great character.
Mm-hmm. And I like the villain too. Yeah, he was kind of generic, but again, that was, you know, the point. And he had, you know, cool, you know, decently well-defined powers, which is often a gripe of mine. Like Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four can just do whatever the plot needs him to do, and which, yeah, I don't really like too much. But, you know, Ajax, like, he was a good foil for Deadpool, because they both couldn't really get hurt. You know, it was just who could manage to completely destroy the other one first. And that's what, you know, you want in a revenge story, because it's not about, like, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna, you know, put you in the ground no matter what it takes. I'm gonna, you know, do what I have to do.
I think it was cool too to see the difference in someone who's just kind of crazy, aka Deadpool, and someone who's absolutely psychotic,
Like sadistic.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, of course, is Ajax.
Right. Yeah.
It was neat to see that difference.
And was Ajax in the comics, or was he made for this movie?
Deadpool's origin in the movie was basically the exact same as in the comics, including having Ajax there, and the way his character worked and his power set was basically the exact same as far as I understand it.
Can we get a little more into spoilers?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so specifically some of the things I really liked about, like, the specific jokes. As I said before, I really like the breaking the fourth wall sort of things, and they were constantly referencing the actors, like
oh yeah, showing Green Lantern stuff and the previous attempt at Deadpool. Yeah, that was awesome. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna sew his mouth shut. Ah.
And they even had an action figure of the Deadpool from the Wolverine movie. I lost my mind. That was
yeah, that was one of the best moments of the whole. The movie was just really, really funny. Like, the vast majority of the jokes really landed and were, like, legitimately. They didn't. A lot of the jokes were smart too, and or at least clever, or made you think for a second that, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Right.
Kind of, they were said in a really quick fire way, so if you weren't paying attention and didn't know what you're hearing, you would have missed it.
Right.
Like the. Like, at one point they were going to go see Professor X, and Deadpool asked if it was going to be McAvoy or Stewart. That was hilarious.
And like, he goes back, so Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead are in the opening scene, and then he goes back later to recruit them to help track down Ajax. He's like, funny, y'all are the only two X-Men I ever see. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford it anymore. But I mean, Deadpool's made, you know, bucket loads of movies. It's already the most successful X-Men movie ever, so I think the next one will definitely have more. Like, Cable was the character we were talking about earlier, who is the fully grown son of Cyclops and a clone of Jean Grey from the future, and is as crazy as that sounds. So I think that'll be a cool, like, buddy cop dynamic with Deadpool for a sequel. It just depends on who they cast, but even Deadpool himself gave some suggestions. Yeah, there is a scene after the credits that talks about this, so make sure you hang around. But by now, I think the world has been properly trained that any comic book movie, you gotta wait. Okay, so overall, out of 10, what would you give it, Brittany?
Right now, I'm gonna say 8. That might fade when it always seems to slack off after I haven't seen it.
Right. Yeah, even today compared to last night when we had just seen it, like, I am not remembering it quite as fondly as I did right coming out of the theater. How about you, Chris?
Maybe 7. Give it a passing grade.
Yeah, yeah. I think I would say about a 7 too.
Which is not to say I'm not gonna immediately see the new one.
Right.
Absolutely.
And probably get it on DVD too.
Yeah.
And just the fact, I mean, I never want to see a comedy in the theater, and I was really, I mean, I was impressed. I was happy with it. It definitely was, you know, was worth the time. Although, you know, there's been a lot of controversy about it being rated R in a comic book movie. It's rated R for a really good reason.
Yeah.
Like, for like on the one hand, Deadpool wouldn't work as PG-13. I'm glad it was rated R because it would have been just as much. I've been killed by the computers crashing into me. Almost every single death I've had. It would have been a
corn.
it would have been like a travesty, like the last attempt was, because that was PG-13 Deadpool, and they sewed his mouth shut because he can't talk unless he's cursing. But like it's like a hard R, as they say. It didn't like barely squeak past PG-13, so this is not really one for kids, in my opinion.
Not. Do not take your children.
If it's not the gore or the language, it's
there's a straight up scene in a strip club with like full frontal nudity. Do not take your children. And a lot of people, I know Jericho has covered this before, but a lot of people are upset because it's a comic book movie that's rated R. It's not the first one to be this.
Right. V for Vendetta was R and deserved it. Watchmen was R and deserved it and should have been. The Crow, Sin City, all of these are based on graphic novels, and you know, graphic novels, like, just because kids read comics doesn't mean that it's only for kids, just like any other form of media. Like,
this is much more, I think, for people that grew up with comics and saw the full violence in it, and now they're adults and they can make their own decisions and go see rated R movies.
Right. Or just our generation that grew up with the 2000s superhero movie boom. And
I'm also gonna say though, I feel like one reason it did so well was not because it was rated R because it needed to be, but because it was rated R, period.
Right.
Like, a lot of people are like, ooh, rated R, edgy, go see it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why they announced today that when Batman vs. Superman comes to like Blu-ray and DVD, it's going to have a rated R cut, which is, I think, the first of many times of them, you know, be going with the rated R superhero movie, just so they. And I mean, like, there are narrative reasons why that works better, just like in Deadpool, but I don't know.
It kind of speaks to the population, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. All right, any closing thoughts on Deadpool?
Nope.
Go see it.
Yeah, go see it.
Go see it.
Yeah, I mean, 2 7s and an 8, so like a 7, 7.5. That's a pretty good rating. Yeah, go see it, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a like and a comment. If not, leave a dislike and a comment on how we can improve things for the next time. We should be back with another movie review pretty soon. I would think Batman vs. Superman would be next. That's March 25th, so probably the week after, because I'm sure I'm going to see that one on opening day because it's a Batman movie. If you liked, you know, subscribe to the channel. New war stories come out every Tuesday and Thursday with all sorts of topics ranging from, you know, wrestling to movies, video games, you know, whatever happens to strike my fancy that day. Stick around, and thank you so much for watching. I don't know about you guys, but for CyannSentry and Chris, I'm Jericho, and we're all full.